Fade in. Hello, I am Michelle.
And I'm Natalie the Red.
And we are Force of Light Entertainment. Well, after the Snyder Cut came out this last weekend, we've gotten some interesting articles that we want to talk about today. Because we want to talk about the way that some of these major studios, specifically Warner Brothers and Lucasfilm, is treating their paying customers, aka the fans. So let's talk about that. So first,
let's spill the tea.
Yeah. So first, we get the Warner Media CEO Ann Sarnoff, and in her article, she talks all about the toxic fans and how there's no place for it. And I guess to her credit, I will specify she said some, but the way the article went on, it definitely painted a picture of the Snyder Cut fans being a lot more than just a tiny little portion of people.
Yeah.
And that's problematic. But then it continues on, and Vox came out with an article. And literally, this is what it reads if you click on the article.
It was not very nuanced.
No,
I'll put it that way.
No, in fact, actually, you don't even have to click on it. This is what the title reads.
Yeah.
Snyder Cut happened thanks to a mix of entitlement, harassment, and privilege. So the studio made something that the fan was willing to pay to watch. And as a result of that, the fan is entitled and privileged for watching a movie and paying to watch the movie. It's just absurd. And Natalie, I think you wanted to read the Vox one. It's a great one, guys. It just keeps going on and on with lots of treasures and goodies.
It's really the gift that keeps on giving.
It does. It was quite special.
So this one caught my eye. 4 years of toxic harassment and a parade of troubling online behavior from male fans.
Just you guys.
So just you guys. I guess you guys are the troubling ones.
You're the troublemakers.
That has far more in common with abusive right wing, like Gamergate, than most of the mainstream geek culture in 2021.
Yeah, and there's kind of this thing of like labeling people right wing.
It's like very popular lately.
It is. And for starters, is being a Republican a crime these days? That's kind of how that makes that sound. But it's just absurd to keep reading. No, this gets better. This is what really got my attention in this article.
About Snyder?
About Snyder specifically.
So this kind of caught my eye, the way they frame Zack Snyder. So just kind of listen to the wording here. Snyder is a straight white male.
That he is.
And that's already a crime, the way it reads. That showcased a creator known for making movies that showcased grim, dark, violent, testosterone-fueled, fantasies of hyper masculinity.
Because masculinity is a crime, guys.
Also a crime.
You can't be a
straight white male.
You can't be a straight white male, can't be a Republican, and you can't have masculinity. And
No.
if you have any of those things, you are toxic.
Toxic, yeah.
And it's absurd that Warner's would even allow this to come out and not call them under the carpet, because it's just like, or under the rug. I messed up my expression, I think. But it's just like,
we get the sentiment. It's
just like how absurd. And even back to what Anne said and the way it phrased it, again, it does say some fans, but it was very similar. And that's when it was after I read the Vox one, I
guess when she said some, she meant the white males.
Because it's like after I read the Vox one, I was like, we need to address this, because this is downright offensive, the way they're addressing their fans. And guess what fans are? They are paying customers. They pay you to watch your entertainment. And in business, there is an expression that it goes like this: the customer is always right. So when customers don't like a product, they usually let customer service or whoever know. And there's no difference with that in movies. And, some people definitely address things in a way that I don't approve of or wouldn't want to do, or wouldn't address it that way. Be respectful to movie, guys. But
come on.
I mean, and when I say guys, I mean everyone. But not you straight white males, not just you guys, but everyone.
All guys.
But it's just so absurd to treat your paying customer this way. I mean, can you imagine if you called Amazon, who I'm not the biggest Jeff Bezos fan, but they've got amazing customer service. There's a reason why it is where it is. And if you called their customer service and they're like, the fact that you called me today tells me that you are privileged and you are harassing me and you're entitled.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
No. What did they do? You could even be rude to their customer service, which we don't need to do.
Don't do that.
But if you're rude to them, they just say, how can we help you? And they're going to fix it. And their customer service is awesome. And maybe it's time for some of you Hollywood studios to understand we're not entitled. We're just a customer. And yes, if we don't like things, we're going to say we don't like things. And if that offends you, then maybe you're in the wrong business, because in business, customers sometimes have complaints.
Right.
I mean, it's absolutely nuts.
And furthermore, Warner Brothers, why did you go on and release the movie?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, we hadn't discussed this, but this is kind of where my brain's going. Like, why did you do it if you were giving in to toxic masculine fans? That I guess don't reward that behavior if you think it's awful. You can't you do it and then complain about it. Whereas people complained about Gina Carano and you fire her, and I guess that was fine.
Well, Lucasfilm.
Disney, yes. I mean, and it's but in this case, well, then why did you do it then if it was such a problem for you?
And I said that if you guys go back to our Henry Cavill is Superman video, I discussed how they basically kept kind of, I use the term sweeping the leg as far as kind of cutting off the Snyder Cut before it came out. It was so obvious they were resentful that because AT&T purchased them and told them to do it. And it's maybe it's time for AT&T to really take charge and say, listen, Warner, we own you now, and you're not going to treat the customer like this. Because I doubt if you go into AT&T to buy a phone, they're going to call you privileged and entitled if you're not happy with a specific thing.
Right.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And, even
it's kind of passive aggressive on their part. That's
what
I'm getting at.
Very much.
Okay, we gave you what you wanted, but now we're going to make you feel like crap about yourself. You're a toxic.
Now we're going to attack your character.
Right. As a fan.
Yeah. It's absurd. And, back to even the Warner Media CEO, Ann Sarnoff, or whatever her name is, her talking about some fans and toxic. And it sounds like, I guess there were some death threats, which obviously is horrible. Yeah. No one should ever send a death threat, especially over a movie. I mean, come on. But it's how many? Because you're making it sound like all the Snyder Cut fans were sending death threats, basically.
Right.
And the word fan comes from the word fanatic. And as much as that behavior, needs to be obviously no, it's a no. You don't do that to people.
Right.
It has happened for a long time. Especially in sports and different things, it's unfortunate, but there's always are a few crazy people.
And it sounds like on Twitter, probably quite a lot, way too much. I mean, at one time is too many. Don't ever send somebody a death threat. Come on, people.
No, don't ever. I mean, you express your discontent or your disappointment or you're not liking something.
Violence is never the answer.
Yeah, express it in a respectful way and then vote with your wallet. If you don't like their product, don't buy their product. And that will help them get the message clearer than sending some ridiculous threat that we should never be sending.
Right.
But the bottom line is just the way that these two articles are trying to depict all the Snyder Cut fans. And it's absurd for a business to treat paying customers this way. We're not even into the second weekend of the Snyder Cut. You should be trying to pump it up so people will come by
its release.
So people will buy HBO Max, which it hasn't done near as good as Disney Plus at this point. So it's maybe don't just kind of dump on the fans in the way that you're doing.
And you should be happy because so far it's had a very positive reception, it seems.
Yes, but immediately after they had to tell us no more Snyder Cut because they're so resentful that they had to give us privileged, entitled, harassing fans a movie that we wanted to watch.
They had to pull an Amber Heard and dump on it.
They really did. But this kind of behavior, it's like Warner's. look at what Lucasfilm did in 2017, after The Last Jedi came out. It was mixed with X amount of fans that loved it and X amount of fans that hated it. Look at how they replied again to their paying customers who didn't like it. They began, and Rian Johnson was guilty of this some too, they began to call them alt-right and every ist in the book. And it's just like they did it like a movie.
Right. Not liking a movie does not make you an ist or an ick. I can't understand that.
Yeah, you need to be really slow to call people any of those labels, because if not, you're really approaching slander.
Yes.
And it's time for people to quit throwing out such an intense, harsh, serious titles because someone didn't like a movie.
Right. It's not that deep.
It's not that deep. I mean, even George Lucas, did George Lucas deal with this way? There are people that harassed so many of the actors in the prequels, but, and really, it's really sad how some of them were treated. I've always felt bad about that. I've never harassed Don't harass actors, guys. They took a part. It was a job. Like, leave them alone. If you didn't like the character, that's one thing, but don't harass an actor over a character. It's just dumb.
Just as a general rule, don't harass anybody.
But my point in that is Lucas himself back then didn't come out and handle all his fans by calling them every ist in the book.
Because I think he had more, common sense and probably respect for his fans than that.
Yeah, because they had made him by that point. Fans, yes. In fact, I would like to flip that, because there's a lot of projecting today in today's media. Actually, Hollywood, it seems that Warner Brothers, Lucasfilm, it seems that you all are the entitled and privileged group that thinks,
call them out, Michelle.
That thinks like you can treat us, the paying customer, however you want to, and we're just going to keep giving you our money. And that's not going to be the case. And there's already a lot of things to back up how that isn't the case. And it needs to stop. The harassment. It's time for you to call up the trades and say, hey, don't put this out. We all know you guys work together. It's just,
in the future, when you go to buy a ticket for a movie of one of these companies, it doesn't really make you feel extra great to go be buying that ticket. It's like when you know what they think of you.
Yeah, they do. And
they do a lot of generalizing, kind of like we've discussed. It'd be different if it was like they were pointing out a specific individual or somebody that had said something horrible. Obviously, we don't condone that. But when you're making these general statements, and I guess basically all white males, it's like, and that doesn't apply to us, but still, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Without all white males, you're probably not going to make a lot of money at the box office. And no group of people should be demonized just for the color of their skin. That actually is an ist.
It actually is.
If you get what I'm saying on that. But it's just time for them to kind of wake up. So Warner Brothers, Lucasfilm, we deserve to be treated better. Like we, the fans, and quit treating the customer this way. It's bad business. It doesn't look good. And it's not going to end well for you.
We want to like you.
Yeah, we would enjoy to go to the theater and kick back and have a nice, fun movie that doesn't shove politics down our throats and enjoy it and give you money for it.
Yes, happy exchange.
We are. And
everybody wins.
Everyone likes to be a happy customer. But sometimes there's things that don't land well with people, and you just kind of got to shake it off as a studio. And kind of learn and move forward. That's kind of all you can do, but don't go down this path. Lucasfilm's already gone down this path. Do you really want to follow Warner's the Lucasfilm path? Not a good plan.
Don't turn to the dark side.
No. In the words of Julia Roberts in what is it? Pretty Woman. Big mistake.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. It's definitely a big mistake. So maybe my conclusion is maybe since Snyder seems to be kind of despised by Warner Brothers.
Apparently, the way they painted him.
Maybe one day he can make Gina Carano be the lead star of his big action movies that they seem to have a problem with.
Yes.
I think that would be a pretty awesome pair that the fans would actually really get behind. I'm making you guys money if you just listen to me.
You know,
but-
he might want her in the movie despite his toxic masculinity and his affinity for it. I guess he has, apparently, according to this article.
Yeah, it's just, and it's especially if you like listen to the guy speak, he just seems like the polar opposite of that. It's
Yeah,
just,
truly.
it's absurd. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. These articles that are coming out, they were just so like, oh my gosh, that I wanted to make a video about it because
Kind of cringy.
it is cringy because again, we are the paying customer and we are entitled to be treated with respect. And that's all we're trying to say and get across in this video. So Warner's Lucasfilm, I hope you're listening. And I hope that you begin to treat us with a little more respect and maybe kind of copy the way Amazon handles their customers when they're unhappy with certain things.
Right.
But that's it for this episode today. As always, guys, remember to be a force of light. All right, bye, guys.